People are impacted by music almost daily. Today we plan to indulge each other into our personal favorite playlists.
Ahead of time, we each selected 5 songs we felt represented our playlist as a whole. So my first song is The Greatest Show, covered by Panic at the Disco, which is part of the reimagined album that's coming out in like 2 days, which I'm very, very excited about because I love the original soundtrack and I'm hoping that it just gives me more to listen to. So The Greatest Showman is my favorite movie at the moment. Even though there's like kind of weird plot holes and some stuff doesn't make sense. Like there's spotlights, even though this is supposed to take place where there's no electricity. Just ignore it. It's good otherwise. And I also picked my senior quote from this movie because I just loved it so much. I like this version of the song almost better than I like the original one because you can actually hear what he's saying within the first like couple seconds of it, which in the original one you kind of don't know what he's saying.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind.
My first song is The World Will Know from the Broadway musical Newsies. A lot of people will hear the name of a musical, or maybe observe a scene or two, and be immediately uninterested just because they're too close-minded to even give it a chance. I, for one, grew up with musicals. I saw my first one, Beauty and the Beast, at age 4. I distinctly remember the lady with the voluptuous hat sitting a seat ahead of me, because the hat was all I could manage to see through my innocent eyes. Fast forward 13 years, and I've probably seen at least 100 different productions. One of my current favorites, Newsies, was introduced to me in 10th grade English class by Mr. Pincelli himself. Ever since I witnessed the magic that is the choreography of this show, I've been hooked. This song in particular represents the entire mood of the show in just 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The line, "The things we do today will be tomorrow's news," is actually my senior quote. It really captures the feelings within our society at the moment, and to be honest, it captures the exact mood of the musical itself as well. A large group of young people fighting for what they believe in.
And the world will know we've been keeping score. Either they gives us our rights or we gives them a war. We've been down too long and we paid our dues. And the things we do today will be tomorrow's news.
My second song is If We Have Each Other by Alec Benjamin. I found out about Alec Benjamin about a year ago on accident. It came up in my recommended artists on Spotify and I listened to him because I was bored. So the first song I heard was I Built a Friend, which it's a very good song. That's also another one I would have put in here. This song came out recently with a few of his other newer songs and I almost instantly fell in love with this song because of its meaning and the lyrics are very good. But I like this song particularly because it talks about using relationships to build each other up instead of using them to tear each other down. And my favorite part is when he is talking about the old married couple and how they want to grow old with each other. And I just thought that was very cute and heartwarming.
The world's not perfect, but it's not that bad if we got each other and that's all we have. I will be your mother and I'll hold your hand. You should know I'll be there for you when the world's not perfect, when the world's not kind. If we have each other, then we'll both be fine. I will be your mother and I'll hold your hand. You should know I'll be there for you.
My next song is I Write the Songs by Barry Manilow. My first concert was in 2009. Things that were popular for an 8-year-old at the time could have been Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers, etc. Things along those lines. But who was I getting ready for on that warm June evening? Barry Manilow. I'm willing to bet maybe 1 or 2 people at most in this room actually knows who this is. Barry Manilow was a popular artist in the 1970s, known for his eccentric love ballads. Going back to the day of my first concert, the one thing I distinctly remember is the feeling of my pulsing fingers on the button that would allow us to cross the traffic-filled intersection and enter the many doors guarding the Blue Cross Arena. As we waited for the crosswalk to flood with people rather than cars, my mom turned to me and said, "If anyone asks you what your favorite song is, say Copacabana." I laughed and agreed. As the years went by, I went to 3 more Barry Manilow concerts and got a chance to actually listen to the songs. Now, 7 years later, I can confidently tell people my favorite song if they ask, and it's not Copacabana.
This next song was in both of our playlists, so we're just going to collaborate and share our thoughts on the song. So this song is a collaboration between Lin-Manuel Miranda and Ben Platt.
Now, Lin-Manuel Miranda was the creator of Hamilton, the musical, not the person. and Ben Platt stars as the lead role in Dear Evan Hansen, as Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
Now, this song, basically a mashup of the two, called Found Tonight.
This song is a mashup of 2 songs, one from each musical. You Will Be Found from Dear Evan Hansen and The Story of Tonight from Hamilton. They took the 2 songs, which have completely different meanings, and blended them together to create something completely different and gave it a whole separate meaning.
Now, this whole separate meaning happened to make let's just say millions of people cry. Was this the intention? Not necessarily, but but this started basically because, so this song was actually created because of a movement inspired by the recent tragedy of the Parkland shooting on February 14th of last year. So the March for Our Lives campaign became a thing, and a lot of students got involved and put in their time and effort to basically ensure that kids in the future wouldn't have to go through something like this ever again. Now, this song was essentially created to help empower these kids and just to know that they're not alone and that they can either listen to this when they're feeling like they are alone, or they can listen to this just whenever the time feels right.
Raise a glass to all of us. Tomorrow there'll be more of us, telling the story of tonight. Out of the shadows, the morning is breaking, and all is new. It's only a matter of time.
My next song is 8675309 by Tommy Two-Tone. Alright, so I grew up listening to a lot of 102.7 on the radio. In other words, the oldies station. This means I have an extensive amount of knowledge of the 1980s. This song in particular isn't one of those songs with captivating lyrics and harmonies that make your heart melt. It's simply just extremely catchy and has a large ounce of nostalgia attached to it.
Daddy, I got your number. I need to make you mine. Daddy, don't change your number. 8675309. 8675309.
My next song is These Streets from the Broadway musical Bronx Tale. I actually went to see this more than a month ago with Stephanie and her parents, and I didn't know anything about this musical before I went to see it, except for maybe listening through the soundtrack like once because I knew I was going to see it. But when this song came on, which is the finale of Act 1. I fell in love with it just because of how many of the characters were at like the peak of what they would be learning throughout the musical, and all the characters were singing all at once, and there was just a lot of fancy lighting going on, which helped. But I also just really love how good it is.
You promised me, look to your heart. Roll 'em, see. Close your eyes.
My next song is Wandering Child from the Broadway musical Phantom of the Opera. As mentioned previously, I absolutely adore musicals. Phantom of the Opera is about as classic as you can get. This song in particular features a wondrous tone mixed together with the mind-melting harmonies created by Sierra Boggess and Ramin Karaman.
Angel or father, friend or phantom, who is it there standing?
Have you forgotten your angel?
My last song is Burn the Ships by For King and Country. So this band I hadn't really heard a lot about, but they were headlining at a 4-day music festival I was going to. And when I got to see them, I was automatically blown away because there was just so many lights and there were so many percussion instruments on the stage, and they were just leaping around and running through the crowd and had so much energy. It was just so exciting to watch. And then I bought one of their CDs and went home and listened to it on repeat for maybe a month. This song is the title track of their most recent album, Burn the Ships. I really like this song because it talks about forgetting all the things that you may have done wrong in your past and just leaving them behind you and completely moving on forward from it. And it's also just very pretty.
Step into a new day. We can rise up from the dust and walk away. We can dance upon the heartache, yeah. So light a match, leave the past, burn the ships.
My final song is Good Riddance by Green Day. This was the best song that could have possibly ended this experience. This one song represents my love for alternative music. The thrill you get when the music covers its well thought out range of emotions is the best thing you could possibly ask for. With this song in particular, it's a bit of a different experience. This is one of those songs I heard on the radio all the time growing up, but never bothered to think of who it was by. When I started listening to more alternative styles, I stumbled upon this song and could not believe my eyes when I noticed Green Day was displayed across the screen.
So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Hopefully our song choices inspired you.
To look through your own playlists.
Wow!